Welcome to this video. This is going to be something I've wanted to do for a couple of years, maybe 3 years. Just thought it would be interesting. I have basically 5 designs that I use. There are tons more out there, but I use the ranch, the salt box, the carriage shed, cape, and gambrel style garages. And people have asked me over time, where'd they get their name? So I thought it'd be fun to maybe look at a little bit of the history of how they got their name and where it originated from. That'll be the first part. The second part will be taking step by step from setting up the forms to preparing the concrete for each one of those types of models. It's a little bit different for a 2-story model. Other than that, that'll be the same, but then maybe show some of the construction throughout. All of that. The first garage we'll start with is the ranch, based on the ranch house. It's also known as American Ranch, or California Ranch, or Rambler, or Rancher. It's a domestic architectural style that originated in the United States. This is right out of Wikipedia, so I'm just kind of reading pretty much what they're saying about this. The ranch house style is noted for its long, close to the ground profile and wide open layout. The style used modernist ideas and styles with notions of the American Western period of wide open spaces to create an informal and casual living style. You can see that in the garage. It's just wide open. It's just a big, basically, room. Saltbox style. So my garages that I build saltbox, I call them saltbox. They're not a true saltbox. The effect or the look is very similar. The front of the roof has a 12-12 roof pitch or 45-degree angle. The back has a 5-12 roof pitch or 22.5 degrees. There's not an upstairs to that one. By definition, with Wikipedia, they say a saltbox house is a gable roof residential structure that is typically 2 stories in the front and 1 in the rear. It is traditional New England style of home, originally timber framed, which takes its name from its resemblance to a wooden lidded box in which salt was once kept. And I believe that was way back in the 1700s or so. Way back for the United States. Okay, y'all over in Europe that have been a country a lot longer, that's pretty new to you folks. Then we have the carriage shed. I've called mine the carriage shed, even though it's not really exactly like the carriage sheds of old. The older ones, original ones, were considered to be a rough roofed structure having 1 or more open sides, once used as a temporary shelter for horse-drawn carriages, as like in the yard of a church. The carriage shed that I do, it does have an upstairs, and it's towards the front because the front roof is still that 12-12 pitch like the salt box. There's a 4-foot overhang on the front of the garage. And then on the back, the roof pitch is a little steeper. It's about a 6-12 instead of a 5-12. So you're able to get a decent sized room up there with stairs that go up to it. The Cape Cod is one of the real popular ones that we do. It's a low, broad, single or double-story frame building with a moderately steep pitched gabled roof. We typically go with a 45-degree 12-12 roof pitch. The houses had a large central chimney and very little ornamentation. They originated in New England in the 17th century. The simple symmetrical design was constructed of local materials to withstand the stormy weather of Cape Cod off Massachusetts. A gambrel or gambrel house. The roof is typically symmetrical, with two sides of the roof being shallower. We do typically a 512 roof pitch up there. And then there's the steep slopes that are about a 22, no, what is it? 22 and a half 12 roof pitch, so that they're equal. And then at the bottom, we typically put a little flare out. That's kind of like a Dutch design. I actually call it a Dutch colonial gambrel, the style that we typically do. Now moving on to the preparation and the steps in going through building the garages. We'll start with forms. After the ground has been leveled, we just look for a level site. We set up the forms. Most of our garages, the base is 24 by 24 feet. So we'll set the forms up, make sure that they're all level and squared. Then we go around then we'll grade stake it and make it secure so the forms don't move around. Then we go around and dig a trench around the inside to thicken the perimeter. Plastic goes down, we use 6 mil. 1/2 inch rebar, 2 foot centers going both directions, and we tie that off. Typically, when it's a 2-story, we double that rebar all the way around the perimeter. We ask that all the earthwork be well drained, that nothing goes towards the slab, so that moisture won't sit underneath and cause a freezing, and so it wouldn't heave and crack the concrete. And that's worked really well. We've done, I think, 500 garages that way over a 35-year period. So we have a pretty good track record on that. Then we come in, we'll pour the concrete. The process will be, we typically pour about a 6-inch slump, 3,000 PSI concrete, air and training. We'll rake that out, get it as smooth as we can. Then we'll use a power screed to further level it, smooth it, and then bull float after that. Then a power trowel to put the finish on the top. We let that set, then come back, and in the shop we will have built the walls. We'll put in as many door and window openings in the shop as we can. The ones that, when they go in between 2 wall sections, we'll quite often leave that out and put it in on site. So we put the walls up, sheathe the walls. We run the sheathing horizontally, and then we stagger the joints for the second row. It gives it that extra strength. That's the strength direction of OSB in particular. If it's 5/8 T111, we have to put it vertically because of the grooves. So that's kind of the 2 variants there. After that, we'll be setting, depending on if it's a single story or a 2-story. Single story, we'll be setting trusses, and again, that will depend on typically the ranch style or the salt box. All the others would get wood eye joists, like the carriage shed, or the cape, or the gambrel. But all 5 models are designed to be wide open, clear span, downstairs, inside. Then we'll put the plywood on the roof, do all the close in on the gable ends, do the rakes, subfascia, just the normal process of going through and finishing them off, all through whatever type siding might be going on, and then putting in the garage doors, the man door, the windows, everything on the exterior will be finished. And we always use pressure treated plates with sill seal between the concrete and the pressure treated plate. Just kind of plugs up all those nooks and crannies around the edge. So we finish it off, and then we're out of the customer's hair, and they can use it and enjoy it.